Director during the George W. Bush administration. It's so good to see you again, Doug.
Good to see you.
So more mixed signals from the economy. What's your bottom line here? Jobs report healthy. We're not.
Oh, yes.
We're not in a recession.
We're not in a recession.
So for all the talk about recession, the White House was right that, Janet Yellen was right about that. We're not in a recession, but it makes the job more complicated for Jay Powell. How do you land this thing?
I think this report just gives them more ammunition to do what they've been doing. If you look at the report, the 1 week part of it was that the unemployment rate fell by a little bit because fewer people participated in the labor force, so it went down for the wrong reason. That's just another example of the gap between the available labor and the demand for labor widening, not narrowing.
Okay.
And the Fed is all about narrowing that gap. And so they are going to continue down the path to higher rates. And this report locks in, I think, a higher rate increase in September.
So another 3/4.
Yeah.
But just that, how do they balance this? We talk about soft landings. This is so hard to achieve.
It's so hard to achieve that they never have. So point number one, the historical record is not great.
Right.
Point number two is they're doing it in circumstances that are, quite frankly, so difficult. We've got the tail end of the pandemic. We've got Ukraine situation. We've got the Chinese economy doing, we're not so sure, over the next year. So that's very tough circumstances in which to do this. But they believe, and I think they're correct in this judgment, that in the end, the route to having continuous high employment is to control inflation. And so that's the primary objective, and they will do it.
Well, let me ask you a political question. I know you're not a politician, you're an economist, but you know the economy as well as anybody. Can they slow down inflation appreciably in time before the midterms, or is this all baked in the cake and the president's just going to have to suffer through it?
At this point, it's baked in the cake. Most people settle their views of issues 3 to 6 months out. This is settled. The inflation is not going to be down in time for someone to change their mind about handling the economy. So I think that's pretty much done.
And then the other things that you can't even predict. Another variant, a variant in the fall, maybe, it is a guessing game. Will this booster, the Omicron booster that we're expecting and waiting for in September, will it be effective against the next variant, which is going to be here by the fall because we're already behind the curve?
Yeah, I think we don't know. It's on my worry list, quite frankly. I think it's predictable that we'll have a big wave of infections, and the question is, how damaging will they be to the public health mission? And that's a big concern.
And how are markets and the supply chain going to react to missiles flying over Taiwan and across the Taiwan Strait, which is something we have not seen before?
We've never seen this before. It's a moment of tension that really makes me worry, not just on the international affairs front, but the Chinese acting out with economic policies, that they are an important player on the global stage and they can hurt global growth. And I worry about that.
Well, reassuring and not completely reassuring, but thank you. We really appreciate your experience.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Good to see you.
And talk about public health. A public health emergency is declared as monkey